Hey everybody, welcome to another Gnumeric tutorial. Today I'm going to talk about programming Gnumeric using Python. You can see here I'm on the GNOME site under the Gnumeric documentation, and it is talking about using Python within Gnumeric. Today I'm going to walk you through this document here and fill in some of the gaps maybe this older documentation has, and quickly get you up to speed in using Python within Gnumeric. First thing I want to show you is if you open up Gnumeric, once you have Gnumeric open up, you want to go to Tools and then Plugins, and then you're going to scroll through this. Now what you're not going to see here is a plugin for Python, and that's what you're going to see in order to use Python within Gnumeric. In order to do that, let me exit out Gnumeric. You're actually going to have to install another package than what you normally install when you normally install Gnumeric, and this is the Gnumeric Plugins Extra. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to open up the terminal. First I'm going to type in sudo apt upgrade. Make sure I'm using the latest version of the package manager, and then after that I'm going to type sudo apt install, and then I'm going to paste in this Gnumeric plugins /extra, and then you press enter. Then you should see it pretty quickly installed the plugins extra. So let me exit out of the terminal now, and if I go back to Gnumeric, what you're going to see is if you go under tools and you go to plugins and you scroll through it, you should now see this Python function, the Python plugin loader. So what you're going to want to select is this Python functions. This message box should pop up, and then you're going to want to select yes, and then you're going to close it out. Okay, now that you have the plugin installed, let's exit out of it and then get back into it, and then you should go to tools, and now you should see this Python console here. So let's select that. So this is kind of cool. So we're going to go back to the docs, and they have some examples here, and I'm just going to show you really the first few. And if you go to the Python console, I'll paste that in there, and then I'll press enter, and then I'll type in dir, and then now you can see there's some available functions to actually interact with Gnumeric using Python. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit out of this, and you can play through this little trial they show you, but I want to get to the section where they talk about using the writing your own Python functions. And the way they describe this is essentially, and they have a term called spellbook. So this is kind of cool, right? This is kind of like VBA, being able to manipulate Gnumeric using Python. So I'm going to show you quickly how to get a spellbook up and running to get a function from Python into Gnumeric. So we're ready now. I'm going to open up my file explorer here, and I'm going to go to documents, and I'm just going to create a folder, and I'm going to call it Gnumeric plugins. You can call it whatever you would like. Press OK, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a text editor. You can use any text editor you would like. I'm using Atom personally, and then I'm going to open up that folder I just created. Discard it. Okay, now in here I'm going to let me split screen this thing with my web browser here, so you can see both now on the screen. And so basically, as it describes here, I'm going to make another folder called my funcs in here. So I'm going here, new folder, call it my funcs, and then within my funcs I'm actually going to add two different files. So the first one being this myfunc.py, and then I'm going to add in this plugins.xml. Now that I've done that, I'm just going to copy straight from the tutorial the XML or the configuration required to get this going. I'm going to make sure I delete these numbers here and save that, and then I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to copy the documentation for the myfuncs.py file. Save that there. Now I'm going to come down to here, and I'm actually going to overwrite this last section, this examples equals just an object. Now I'm going to paste in this other section, and what you'll see here is it adds a function to this Python file, func_add, which takes in 2 numbers, and then it returns a value. And then here you'll see in the examples equals brackets now pi_add, and then associates with that function. And you'll see how this plays into later, but in Gnumeric you're actually going to see this pi_add function pop up. And lastly, you need to actually export this function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this function name equals that pi_add, and you're going to want to add this in between these 2 function items here and save that. So now your file's pretty much complete. Now the one last thing I would like to add is some descriptors. So when you type in this pi_add, it will actually show up within the menu within Gnumeric. So let me first paste that in there. Let's beautify that and save that. So now, and again, if you read the documentation here, all you're doing is adding some descriptors. So when you import it into Gnumeric, it'll show up as an actual function. So now that we've done that, I have the file saved. I'm going to open up Gnumeric and show you what you should expect. So now that I open up Gnumeric, I'm going to type in pi_add and then put in 2 numbers. And you see how nothing is returned, right? It just comes up blank. So what we're going to do now is, if you go to Tools and you go to Plugins, and then you go to Directory. So what we're doing is we're actually adding this directory into as a reference for Gnumeric to look for plugin files. So now that we added it, you can see it added here. We're going to close it out. Let's see here. Are we going to be able to type it in? No, currently not. So what we need to do now is we need to exit out of it. We can discard that. We're going to open it up. You saw before how I couldn't type it in. Now if you type in _pi_add, you should see it pop up. So complete typing that in, and now if I type in 3 and 4, you'll see it will return a value of 7. So pretty quickly I showed you guys how to install the Gnumeric plugins extra, and then quickly showed you guys how to develop a Python function. In further videos, I'll go in a little bit more in depth about what you can do with these functions, including looking at ranges as well. Alright, appreciate it. Thanks for watching the video.